I've 27 female, been with my boyfriend, 28 male, for a little over 1.5 years now. We started living together very recently. We split bills and things were fine. I don't even know how to explain this without people jumping to conclusions, but I'll just say it. I have a best friend, 28 million. We've known each other since I was 19. We were roommates briefly in college. We were close then, like shared food, shared laundry days, shared weed, talked every night type of close. We also used to sleep together back then, but that stopped years ago. That part of our relationship ended way before I got with my current boyfriend. Since then, me and my best friend have kept it platonic. We talk, FaceTime maybe once every 2 weeks, sometimes text each other during work hours, just regular stuff. My boyfriend has never liked him. He said from day one that it's weird that I have a guy best friend, and he never really believed it was just platonic. He never said I couldn't talk to him or anything, but it's always been this underlying thing. Every time I say I'm going to call him or hang out, there's this attitude or passive-aggressive comment. I've told him multiple times that he needs to be secure in himself and not take it out on me just because he's insecure. It all blew up last week. I had been planning to FaceTime my best friend one night because he was going through something with his family. He'd just gotten into it with his dad and needed someone to talk to. I told my boyfriend I was going to call him before bed, and he said nothing at first, but then he went into the kitchen and just stayed there. After like 20 minutes of me being on FaceTime, my boyfriend came into the room and asked if I could get off the phone. I told him no, and he said I was being disrespectful for doing that in front of him. The next morning he brought it up again and said he didn't think it was normal that my best friend had called me baby during the FaceTime. So yeah, apparently he's been listening in on us. Rude. Anyway, that word set him off. My best friend has always called me that. I call him Bubs sometimes. It's just a nickname. It doesn't mean anything. My boyfriend said that if it's meaningless, I should tell him to stop, and I told him that he was being dramatic. I actually said, "You sound pathetic when you get like this." He got quiet. Then he said it was really disappointing to him that I couldn't see how this looked from his point of view, that he'd never call a female friend babe or baby while in a relationship, and he didn't think I'd be okay with it either. I told him this wasn't the same because me and my best friend don't have any feelings for each other and never have. It's just how we talk. He didn't say anything after that and just walked away. He didn't even want to eat dinner that night. Things have been weird since then. He's been pulling away, going to bed early, making his own food, barely talking unless it's necessary. I asked him the other day if he was going to keep acting like this, and he said he was thinking about some things. I asked him what that meant, and he said he wasn't sure if he could stay in a relationship where he doesn't feel like he's respected or prioritized. I feel like he's blowing it out of proportion. I've never cheated on him, never even kissed anyone else since we got together, and I'm not going to ditch my best friend just to make my boyfriend feel better about himself. I wouldn't ask him to cut off his friends. I just don't know what to do now. He's not being open with me anymore, and when I try to bring it up, he either shuts down or walks away. I love him, and I want this to work, but I'm not going to let him control who I can and can't talk to. If anyone else has dealt with a situation like this, how did you handle it? Did it get better? Update, 3 weeks later. So I wasn't sure if I was going to come back here, but I feel like I need to get this out. Things have changed a lot in just a few weeks. The short version is, my boyfriend left. He moved out last week. I guess we are over. I'm just not sure. He just packed his things over 2 days, said goodbye, and left. That's it. But I feel like I need to explain what happened before that. A week after I made the original post, he brought up the FaceTime thing again. This time he wasn't emotional or upset, just calm. He asked me if anything physical had ever happened between me and my best friend since we got together. I said no. He asked if we'd ever even kissed, even once, since we became official. I said no again. He nodded and said, okay. I thought that was the end of it. But the next night, I couldn't sleep. I don't know why, but I kept thinking about it. The lying part. Because I did lie. Me and my best friend did sleep together one time, about a year and a bit ago. It was during a period when me and my boyfriend were kind of off. Like we were technically official, but still navigating waters. I was drinking a lot back then, partying with coworkers more than I should have been. One night I went to my best friend's place after a happy hour and we ended up together. It wasn't some big romantic thing, it was just there. I was drunk, he was there. Suddenly he was inside me and we did it. I didn't even sleep over. I remember waking up the next day and feeling weird about it, but I didn't tell anyone. I just kind of told myself it wasn't that bad because me and my boyfriend were barely official at the time. It happened one more time like 6 months later. That time I wasn't drunk. That time it was me being selfish. I'd had a fight with my boyfriend and I felt disconnected. I wanted to feel good again. That's what I told myself. I went to his place and we spent the weekend together. A lot of drinking and sex. My boyfriend were clueless. It never happened again after that. I cut it off. I told my best friend we couldn't do that anymore. I kept talking to him, but nothing much physical after that. I ended up telling my boyfriend about it the next morning. I didn't want to keep lying. I sat him down and told him I hadn't been completely honest, that me and my best friend had slept together twice, but it was a long time ago. I explained the context, that it wasn't ongoing, that I hadn't had any feelings for him, that I still wanted to be with my boyfriend. I told him I was sorry. He didn't get mad. He didn't even say anything at first. He just looked at me and said, "I knew it." Then he stood up, walked out of the apartment, and didn't come back for 6 hours. When he came back, he didn't talk to me, just slept on the couch. That week was horrible. He stopped speaking to me completely. No eye contact, no answering questions, nothing. Just silence. I started breaking down by day 3. I begged him to talk to me. I said I was willing to go to therapy, change, do whatever. He finally said, "I'm not staying in something like this. You lied to me for almost a year." I kept saying it didn't mean anything, that I didn't love my best friend, that I never intended to hurt him. I said I panicked and didn't know how to say it once it had happened. He asked me why I stayed in contact with someone I slept with while in a relationship. I didn't know what to say. I said we were friends before and that I didn't want to lose that friendship. He said, "So you were okay losing your relationship?" Got it. And that was it. He packed up and left the next day. He said he'd send someone to grab the rest of his stuff. I haven't heard from him since. He unfollowed me on everything, blocked me on some stuff. I reached out to a mutual friend to ask if he was okay, and the friend said he's staying with his cousin and doesn't want to talk. I guess I don't know what I expected. I thought that if I was just honest and explained it, things could get back to how they were. But they didn't. He really just walked away. And the part that's messing me up the most is that he didn't even try to fight. He just left. I screwed up. I lied. I let someone stay in my life who crossed a line with me. I thought I could manage it and keep the peace, but I was just avoiding consequences. I thought that as long as I didn't keep sleeping with my best friend, it was okay, that I could still be a good partner. But now I'm sitting in this apartment alone, and none of that stuff matters. The worst part is, I keep thinking I miss my boyfriend, but I also know I don't want to lose my best friend either, and I don't know what that says about me. So yeah, that's how it ended. He's gone. I don't think he's coming back. Edit. You guys stop worrying. I'm not going to unalive myself. I'm not that desperate. Besides, my best friend is here to keep me company. Wink.